Hi, I'm Jadi and welcome back to Geeking with Jadi. Today I was reading about the Nostr protocol, wanted to write some Rust code and thought it's good to share it with you guys. This is not a Nostr tutorial, this is not a Rust educational video. Mainly I want to show you how to contribute to codes on GitHub or other platforms, sending pull requests. But meanwhile, I will talk about Nostr and also I will show you some Rust coding, how to study other people's program. This is very important. It's very, very rare to be hired somewhere and starting to write some program from scratch. In 95%, 90% of the cases, you are hired and you have to continue someone else's code. You join a team to continue what they're writing, programming, coding, and these kind of stuff. So it's very important to be able to study other people's code. In this session, this might be long, I'm going to do this. Nostr or Nostr or Nostr or whatever this is pronounced, Nostradamus, is a decentralized social network with a chance of working. It's a simple open protocol that enables a truly censorship resistant and global social network. I doubt the truly censorship resistance because super active dictatorship who tries to block networks can have, for example, DPIs and drop lots of packets and make lots of problems. But I agree, this was the reason I continued reading about the Nostr. It's a very clever idea. You have a node, your client, you speak with a relay, you publish to this relay, and you can also read from this relay. But there are other peoples, they can work with their own relays. And also, everything is encrypted. I encrypt something with my private key, publish it here with my public key, and you can query public keys. So you can say, I want whatever this public key has published and get it. Relays do not speak with each other. And you don't need to know every single relay to work. I'm not going to describe the protocol. If you want to read it, it's fun. So I started creating an account. You need a client. I checked different clients, and one of them with a cool name Gossip was on GitHub. The reason I used Gossip is not because it's the best client. Best for me for sure. That's why I'm using it. But this is written in Rust. And I know some Rust and I would fancy to practice my Rust more. So what I did was choosing something in Rust with lots of open issues, some improvement places, and that will let me to practice my Rust 2. The issues, you can see it has more than 100 issues. As soon as I downloaded it, I was working with it for some time and found that it creates a database, it gets larger, and there is a very, very basic method to make it smaller. So I'm going to add a feature there. But in this video, I mainly want to show you how to participate in ongoing projects on GitHub. You found a project which is cool. Nice, I found it. The first thing is give it a star because you like it. And I'm logged in, so I fork this project. The main project is in Mike Dilger, shout out for Mike Dilger, Gossip. I'm forking it to Jadi Gossip. So the main project is here. I created a fork. Now it's in my own space. I can create branches here, add features, and then send a pull request. Please pull from me. And if Mike likes my changes, he will pull my requests. Then he will have my changes merged in the main project. So the first step is forking. Now I'm in Jadi Gossip. I want to work on this code, so I have to clone it. I will come to my terminal. I will make my font a little bit larger for you. Git clone that one. I will clone it into my own project, to my own computer. I highly recommend you to study the protocol. The main site is Nostr.com. Lots of information. You can find lots and lots of clients, servers, even command line tools. That's the next thing I want to work on. Anyway, the project is cloned. I will go to the gossip. Here I have the project. I can say code a new window here. So I will open this here. I had another window open. So we have this. This is a Rust project. So first things first, run. Let's run it. Background. I will go cargo, run. Simple. It will take some time to build everything for the first time, download if any crate is needed, and other stuff. Meanwhile, we can study the code. Source, and see if it has some different modules like DB, overload, UI. And also it's always good to go here if you are going to contribute to a project, read what they say, read the whole README. I have done this. It says how to build it from the source. This is what I'm doing, and some samples and everything. At the end, also it says if you want to participate, go and read the developing. So here you can see what the main developer who started the project says about developing. I have read this. So let's go back here, see if it's compiled. Okay, now this is running for the first time. You have to read this. It says how to use it, how to create your account. I can go to the account, to the profile, create, set up a new identity, whatever. But my problem was in the settings. Well, whatever, I don't know what this is called. Event, technically it's called event. Whatever event is called, so like a tweet, like a post, whatever you call it, when it is called, it's added to a database. The database is here. CD, on the Mac, it's here. Application support, CD, gossip. It's a SQLite database here. So this will start to grow in size because you are downloading more and more and more and more events. So what should be done about it? The main developer added one prune database. When pruned, the data will be removed from the database if it's older than 7 days. This is hard coded. For sure it says something. Yes, events. Okay, it says this will delete overridden events older than a week. I want to change this and add a configuration. It's not very difficult because I don't know this GUI method, but you can see it has posting, proof of work. You have a slider here. I want to add a slider here which says from 7 to 200 days. I don't know, 90 days. So I will have a configuration on this. Let's see what we have in the code. Technically, I'm showing you how you can read a code. It has different sections. Just look at the names of the files. Asset, fonts, packaging. Okay, these are about the cargo. Source, DB, overload, UI, about, comms. For sure, it's in the UI. Which part of the UI? Settings. Very easy to find. So I don't know about this system it uses. It's called eGUI, but it imports buttons, sliders, and lots of things. Let me do this to make it a little bit easier to read. there is a proof of work, the same thing I was looking at. So this is a field for a horizontal line, the slider. And I will go to the end. There is a checkbox, another horizontal line. There was a button for prune. We can search. Prune database. If UI button prune database, on hover text, show this one. This will delete overridden events. Events older than specified date below and related data while helping blah blah blah. If clicked, it uses global, it has a variable, status Q, it is using overload. Right, pruning database, please wait, this will take a long time. Okay, calls this. And then it will call send to overload prune database. So it is calling this. Easy to understand. First, I need my new element here. This is called prune days. And then the help says events older than this will be pruned, removed from the database. Interesting. On the app settings, there is a configuration. Now it's a proof of work. I will create a new one, like prune days, and we'll set it between say 7 to 90 days. And the text is days. Okay, I should configure this somewhere, but where? We can do a small nasty trick. I can search for this. It says, okay, you have this. Okay, for sure I don't have this. But POW on the settings file. There is a settings file. It has this one. I will add mine here. Prune days is what is this? Okay, this is the default, I believe. 7. Nice. And what else? Okay, in the settings now I have this. Let's compile it once and see what will happen. Cargo run. It says prune days 7 does not have this field. Settings does not have this field. So this should be defined somewhere here. Say public prune days is int, unsigned int 32 bits. Step by step, I'm trying to add one feature. It seems it's done. At least no errors, no complaints. Okay, it is here. Now I have the settings and we have a prune days. We can move it. Very interesting, although it does nothing. When I say prune database, it says database prune has completed. Cool. Now I need to send this number. First, I have to understand how pruning works. So, what was the prune days? Okay, I'm in the settings. I was checking this in the UI. When this button is pressed, it goes through to overload messages, prune database. Let's check this one. This should be somewhere in the overload. Let's search for it. Prune database, this is it. This is kind of a function. It says, okay, drop this. I'm not sure what is this. I know this library. And it calls from DB, calls the prune. Then awaits to see if it gets any error or not. So we have to use the check the create DB and check the prune there. DB is here, and where this function is defined, we don't know. Contact mode looks like only one which might have this. Ah, yes, has it. What does this do? This is an async function, spawn blocking. I'm not sure what this is, but it says, okay, defines a global lock on the DB, cool, and then executes include str this file. What is this file? It says from SQL, read the prune SQL. Let's see. SQL prune SQL. This is what prunes the database. Delete from event where blah 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 blah. Okay. No date. Then it deletes overridden replaceable events without any time specific. Then delete from events where kind is very strange, between 20,000 and 30,000. This is cool. Then delete where kind is not 0 and kind is not 3 and kind is not 10,001 and created at this specific time. Now minus this is 1 day. So it practically calls this. Let's check our findings. When we were pruning, we were saying on the here, okay, here we were only calling it. Here we were executing this. Let's not execute this and go with a print line. Print line this. I'm just printing the prune action. Okay, it says this is not used. Fine for now. Now it's running. And I will go with settings. We'll do the prune. And it is calling this. This is cool. So I need to change this to whatever time I have here. So I have to read this, replace that into this. So here I will say, instead of this, I will create a specific string. I will say seconds to prune. Okay. So here on my mode, I have to read this first. This will be cleaner. Let prune SQL command to be include this, replace that string with the, let's change it with something very simple, with 100,000. This won't work because you cannot replace with this. So I will go with a toString. Although I'm not sure if this works, but let's run and see. Rust is super helpful. It says, okay, this is expected str. I found string. So consider borrowing here. Very helpful. Consider borrowing. So borrow this. I will do this. Cargo run. It's good to print this. And then I will say print line what this ran. I will stop it. And I will say print prune SQL command cleaner. Still DB is not used, that is fine. So settings, and let's prune. It says okay, this is replaced. Very cool. So I was able to replace this. Now I need to pass my days here. So instead of this, I should have days, which is 7 for now, in seconds, and this should be my number, prune days. But I don't have it, so I have to pass it here. Prune days U32. Let's go step by step backwards. I had this, then on the settings, when I was calling this, I was going here. I have to pass my number here. This is the way that it works, so I will pass this here. Will send how many days I want. This sends to the overload message. So let's go to the overload. Here I say prune database will get a prune days and will call prune with prune days. So I'm passing my number here. This should be defined somewhere, maybe on top. I don't know. This is the only one time this is called. So let's do another trick. Okay, it's defined here. I say this is a enum, right? So enum, U32 we've used. Let's try it. Rust always gives very, very friendly errors. Wow, no error. This was a surprise. I was thinking for sure something will be missing here. So I have this. I will go to the settings, prune database, it's on 7. It says, okay, this is the 7, which is 7, 24, 60, 60. Okay, very nice. So if I go with 70 days, this should be one more 0, right? A little bit difficult, but that is fine. Prune database. Cool. So it's working very, very, very nicely. I only need to here, instead of print line, I can call this. Although I think this is a string and it will need borrowing, but let's try. We cannot be sure. Yes, it says try borrowing here. Okay, thanks for the helpful tip. Now we really did the job. At least need the main part of the job. Sorry, I have 2 monitors. It goes always to the upper monitor. So I have the prune database. Database prune has completed for this much dates. This is done. Everything is cool. Prune 4 prune days. This is nicer. I think this works. It's completed. Now we have another feature. Ow, I didn't create a branch. I was showing you how to send clean and nice PRs, but I forgot to create a branch. No problem, we will do it. Cargo run. Settings, prune for this many days, database prune for 57 days. Cool. But here you can see, for example, maximum FPS has a save function. It says 36. and I'm on 57. If I save the changes, close and run the program again, you can see mine is not saved. We have to check this and see where this is being saved. Save the changes was the button, right? So I can go to my UI. It calls when you go with the save. Where is the save? Save changes. It calls the overload send save settings. So let's go to our overload and find the save settings. Let's see what it does. It clones all the settings. Hopefully mine is there. Then calls the settings save. So settings save. I'm on the DB. I should go to the settings, and here I have to find the save. No, save. What? I'm on the UI. I shouldn't be on the UI. I should go to the main settings. Save. Async function saves. Okay, it locks the DB, creates a bool to number, and then save these data. So here I will say, okay, this is mine prone days. I'm just copying from the one above. I'm not super genius to know what should be done, but I'm very good in decoding things. Okay, prune days. Creates prune days. Then add these things to it. I will add mine. In this part, I can say that this is creating a query. It says replaces into settings these key values. Key is here, value will be provided later, and I'm providing mine here. But there should be a load too. No, there isn't. Okay. No problem. Let's run this and see if we are doing it correctly. Prune days, help. Ow. Everyone had a self. I forgot myself. Beautiful, I forgot myself. No, there is no. Save. Yes, these ones I saw that they all have self, but forgot. And if you want to see why, because this is async function save gets the self, so you can access variables from there. Cargo run. I'm sure there should be a load somewhere, because I have to initialize and tell it that even if it automatically loads, I have to tell it that put my prone days on this specific themes. Database prone save changes. Okay, most probably saved, but we have to check where do we have a load. Okay, no load function. Interesting. Practically, we are doing what I'm good at, and I'm doing is reverse engineering the whole thing without understanding all of it one by one. This is how at least I enter a huge code base. This is not huge, but anyway. So ow, this is the same load we were looking for. but this is called blocking load because most probably it blocks. Blocking log, select key values from all the settings. We have found it on the first search, but I was searching dumbly for a load function, but this is called blocking load function. So it reads this, query map this, separate as part, and for each row it goes with the string and match based on them. And this is the clean way it does it. We will just do the same for our own variable. So here I would say if the variable name was prune days, I will go with if let okx, you were able to parse it as a number. I used U32 because we may want to use a year or even more. Change the settings, prune days to this. Very nice. And default to nothing. So now our loading system works too. The main problem was I was working on the master and I wanted to show you how to send clean pull requests. So now 55 days is loaded. I can prune. It goes okay. Prunes for this much. If I go with 11, it goes with 11. If I save it and return back, it should be on 11 and we can call this feature done. Okay, it's on 11. Nice. Later, it might be good to have an auto prune. So each time the client starts, it does this pruning automatically to prevent them they stack up and make everything much slower. Anyway, now our change is done. Let's go for git diff. Okay, we added a variable to be passed prune date. Cool. I'm just checking to make sure that I'm not doing something super ugly, which I'm doing. Here I'm adding a lot of spaces. Although in Rust projects, it's very common to have these checked automatically. I think even I read here that flow pull request. Yes, it says please run cargo Clippy and cargo format. Clippy will check for some very common mistakes. So hopefully we won't have any common mistake. And cargo format will format the source code. Okay, cool enough. Then we will go with cargo fmt. Then we will go with git diff. Cool, I don't have that ugly spaces anymore thanks to cargo format. So now our project looks okay. I have to send the pull request. Let's do it. Okay, I will go git checkout. I have to give it a name. I will go with jadi prune days. Config. Okay, this is my new branch. I don't have any ugly prints. Things looks okay. This is also done by the cargo format, which is nicer. And here, older than a week. Now it's events older than a specific date. A specified date below, and related data will be kept in. It may take minutes. Blah blah. Okay, cool. So I will go with git commit-m. Sometimes in the developers or contribution file, they will say how to name your commits. Here we don't have it, so I will say added the slider to the prune config to specify how many days to prune. Default to 7. Okay, now we have this. Ow. I'm teaching you how to send PRs and I'm doing silly mistakes. I just checked it here. Now I have to say git add these files. When working on huge projects, it's always good to add these one by one and do not go with -a. Or if you are going to use -a, check thoughtfully that you are not committing anything silly. Okay, now I can do a git commit. I can do a git log. It says, okay, Jadi is committing this. Added a slider to the prune config to specify how many days to prune. Default to 7. Cool. Git push. I'm pushing this to my own repo. Git push origin this. Okay. Created a new branch and pushed this. Now if I go to a GitLab and my own gossip, it will say Jadi prune days config had recent push less than a minute ago. Okay. So GitLab sees that I have created a new branch and pushed to it. So most probably I want to create a pull request. What was the general process? I saw a project which I like. This is my I, and I'm liking this project. I forked it to my own space, Jadi. I cloned it to my computer. I created a new branch, worked in that branch. When done, here I didn't, I forgot, I worked on master, but when done, I created a new branch and committed my changes to my branch and then pushed them to my own area. Now GitLab sees this and tells me, do you want to compare and create a pull request here? Pull request. This is a good idea, let's do it. So I say compare and pull request. It says added a slider to the prune config to specify the days to prune. Default to 7. No extra data needed. Added this new setting, prune days to the save and blocking load functions and updated hover text accordingly. This will show to the main developer that I'm caring, I'm trying to have a clean one and everything. So I create a pull request. So it's okay, this cannot be merged. Someone should review this in the main project. Super cool and logical. So if I go to Mike Dilger, gossip, check the pull request, my pull request is here. Pull request blah blah by Jadi. It needs a reviewer, and if he goes there or she goes there, they will see that there is 1 commit and file changes are 6. Hopefully this is considered a clean one. Only does one thing and has enough description. Someone will go through these changes, make sure I'm not breaking anything. Afterwards, they should pull my changes to their computer, compile it, see if it's working fine or not. If it's okay, the reviewer will say this is okay. And then the maintainer or the main developer or whoever has access will approve it. Let's wait and see and hope. Have fun, and you saw how easy it was. Participate in projects and it will enhance your capabilities.